Hello, welcome to Local Edition. I'm Leslie Leyton. Well, the state budget is passed, but our next guest says the effects of the process continue. Assemblyman Curt Hagman, thank you very much for being here.
Great to be here again.
Now, you say a lot of the effects that continue from the budget process are the result of Proposition 25, which was passed by voters to expedite the whole process, to require a simple majority vote to pass the budget. But there are other things that have happened.
Well, yeah, some of the downsides of that, especially a one-party rule in all the different levels of government, was that we were promised open and having everything aired. In the Assembly, there were no budget hearings at all for the final trailer bills. We're seeing policy pass through trailer bills being, quote, budget. They have nothing to do with budget whatsoever, but they could bypass the whole committee process by slapping $1,000 on anything and calling it a budget bill. So what we were hoping for as a citizenry of California to have an open but simpler process to stop the bickering has now left it even less sunshine. The media, the taxpayers, no one can even see what's in this budget. And there's some horrible policy that came out of the budget bills this last year.
So because the Democrats are a majority, you didn't get a chance to discuss anything. You feel you weren't heard, and then it was all over. You found that there were some trailer bills that weren't up to your expectations.
Well, the majority of them were ones that we probably wouldn't agree with anyway, but I think even for the members who did vote for this budget, they didn't know what was inside. For example, in some of the 600 pages of one trailer bill, there's a provision that allows any sheriff to release any inmate prior to being convicted or post being convicted on a GPS without bail. These are major policy type of decisions that were covered up in a budget bill. We had the governor basically push his ballot initiative that usually goes in by date order of being receptive for his taxes from number 8 to number 1 with a budget trailer bill saying there's $1,000 appropriation toward it. I think that's an abuse of power that the citizens did not vote for, and I think it's going to litigate.
What do you expect the effect of the governor's ballot initiative that would raise taxes, sales tax and income tax on some of the higher earners? What effect would that have moving it to the top of the ballot?
Well, statistically, most people have a higher chance of voting yes on something at the top versus reading through 8 long ballot measures or 9 or 10 or wherever there is. Toward the end, they have less voting for it. So he's hopeful that it gives his
so at the beginning of your ballot, you're like, yeah, and then you start to go, okay, enough already,
yes.
Especially if it's to raise taxes.
Yeah, voter fatigue starts voting no after so many ballot measures. I don't want to spend money on all this, and they don't read it as thoroughly. That's what studies have shown.
You know, one of the other trailer bills has had much discussion lately, the mortgage bill. Tell us the effect you expect from that.
The mortgage bill was there to protect people who are getting foreclosed on. When they were discussing different deal points of one person, and another part of the bank would be closing, foreclosing it. So they made some changes in that. We've made changes the last 2-3 years against abusive lenders. The thing they snuck in the very last second, the day before, was this right to private action. That means it already takes over 350 days to get foreclosed on in California with all the different rules, restrictions. But you go through that process, and now you can file a lawsuit against your bank and drag it out for another 2-3 years in court. I'm afraid that banks won't want to lend to anybody in California again unless you have perfect credit and 50% down or you're a big investment firm. Now,
the idea is to protect the borrower who may be forcing foreclosure, but what effect do you expect this to have on the market overall?
I think it's going to shrink the market of lending. They can go to other states. The federal government, in fact, the Obama administration asked California not to do anything until their report was done. And a lot of the abuses were already addressed in previous year's legislation. So for those small business ones that want to take that line of credit out of their house to grow their business, create jobs, they can't do that anymore.
Okay, Assemblyman Curt Hagman, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on Local Edition. I'm Leslie Leyton.